Welcome to Kick It Up a Notch, hosted by Megan and Jenny. We're here to bring you lively conversations, inspiring stories, and a little bit of everything in between. Whether it's life, business, or just a good laugh, we're turning up the energy and diving into what makes life extraordinary. Let's kick it up a notch. Welcome to another episode of Kick It Up a Notch. I'm Megan Thomas, and I am here with my amazing co-host, Jennifer McBride. We are realtors, entrepreneurs, and passionate advocates for our veterans and their families. We're so glad to have you back for another episode. Make sure you check out our previous episodes wherever you get your podcast. And as always, please subscribe, follow us on all social media.
We are so glad to have you back. This show is about talking with some incredible people who are making a real difference in our community here in Southern Indiana. Whether it's through their businesses, nonprofits, or innovative ideas, these individuals are shaping the future in ways that often go unnoticed. So today we're kicking it up a notch with Keri McBride, and she is no relation to me, but she is the Healing Tools for Warriors Midwest president, the wife of an Army veteran, and has a beautiful singing voice.
Keri and her husband are members of the American Legion Post 44 in Newburgh. She's a dedicated advocate for our armed service members and their families. Her Healing Tools for Warriors program is dedicated to supporting and aiding the healing process of warriors with an emphasis on enhancing their ability to perform daily activities and to improve their quality of life, as well as to educate the warrior on local programs, jobs, and volunteer opportunities that enable the warrior to regain their sense of purpose and move past their medical restrictions. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us today, Keri.
My pleasure.
So, from the Healing Tools for Warriors page, first, can you start off with, it refers to warrior. Who is it talking about when it says warrior?
So technically we are all warriors because we walk that path alongside of our veteran or first responder, because we do not just cater to our veteran families, but we also want to extend that support to our first responders, because we do realize that they do face on a day in, day out basis a lot of similar type traumas and stressors that our veterans have had to endure. So we definitely also reach out to the first responders.
I love that they are included in that umbrella, because you are absolutely correct. So what inspired you to join this organization, and what personal experiences or stories kind of fueled this passion for you?
Well, so Healing Tools for Warriors Midwest is actually a hub. We branched out from the Healing Tools for Warriors that's kind of located in the Florida Panhandle. They've just moved to a new office that's actually in Florala, Alabama, but we're still considered Florida Panhandle. It's kind of all blurs together down there. So that began in 2010. We started our hub up here in the Midwest in 2019. So, so my husband actually has been involved with Healing Tools for Warriors since 2019, along with our CEO and founder, Penny Pinkham. She began Healing Tools because she had 3 Army sons, and she was seeing all the struggles that they had when they came home from their time of service with post-traumatic stress and with traumatic brain injuries. So the 3 stars that's in our logo represents her 3 sons. That's what those stars are for her 3 boys. But yeah, she is definitely the biggest heart and soul, and she is still running strong, and they have been able to do retreats for many, many years. And so we go down there and we help them with theirs. So I came along in about 2016, down there when we still lived in Florida, and, just dove in and just jumped right in to become an advocate and support this amazing organization. I was just seeing what they were doing, how they were including the families, the family support member, and we are their battle buddy. And making sure that we are strengthening the family unit in that way, because the divorce rate, especially in veteran households, is so much higher than your standard nuclear family. It's just, it's a tough road. And if you don't have the right supports, it can get overwhelming. So
Sure.
that is why it's just so important that not only are we really networking and getting together for our veterans and supporting that and fostering that brotherhood, sisterhood, that we are also empowering the spouses or the moms or the aunts or the siblings, whoever is taking care of that veteran, that they also feel like they have a net of support that they can gain as well.
Sure.
That was something I noticed right away looking at your guys' Facebook page and the website of this program, how much it is actively in the front that you are including. We talked about the first responders as well, but their families and all of their support systems. I think that is huge and really important. And I want to just clarify for people listening, Battle Buddy is who you guys refer to as those partners in crime with this journey,
Yes.
with these warriors, correct? And
Right.
PTSD is post-traumatic stress disorder, and TBI is traumatic brain injury. So if you hear us shortening that, that's what those terms are referring to. So
I wanted to just talk about Joey a little bit.
Your husband.
Your
Right.
husband, and a super amazing human being. Again, Army veteran, and you talked about, and then Brave. We can't forget about Brave, his sidekick. You know, you talked about him being highly involved in this organization. You know, what has that done from him, especially being a warrior himself? Like, how does getting involved in this for him help him?
So just getting together with people that get you, that in itself is super healing, because they understand your struggles, and that loss of brotherhood that is so deeply felt by our veterans when they leave the service, that reconnection with other veterans, and it doesn't really matter what era the veteran is in, that they served in, just getting that camaraderie back is a huge healing process in itself. Joey went to school he has an associate's in psychology, and he has a bachelor's in pastoral counseling, and he's getting his master's in that right now. So he's really immersed in wanting to do things to help in a therapeutic sense, just to be able to share what he's learned and how he navigated some hurdles, and maybe that'll help another veteran. Another veteran may have navigated a hurdle that Joey's trying to get through. So that, just being able to gather like that and help each other navigate these hurdles, because there's so many to get through, that just really helps that a lot. And it does help with all the processing, and hey, just calling somebody that you've met at Buddy Check or something, say, man, I'm having a tough day, just talking on the phone, that itself helps. But he's run groups since I've known him, so he really is involved with that.
That makes so much sense for Joey.
I love the fact that we're getting awareness out there for veterans, for first responders on these things, because being the wife of a veteran, it wasn't until maybe 5 years ago where we got Chris involved in the American Legion. And, he's been out of the military for years and years. And never, when we got there and we joined the American Legion, he was like, these are my people, and so it's important that veterans, first responders, know that these places are out there for them.
Absolutely. It is so hard to ask for help, not just for our veterans, but for the family support members. Asking for help is really hard to do. So it's good that we can have organizations out there that, hey, we're going to go hang out and play cards, or something like that. Something that doesn't, okay, I'm going to have to go and talk about my feelings. I don't want to go do that. No, just come out and maybe play some cards and let something naturally happen. It's more organic. It's like, let's relax for a little bit, because there's some veterans that they still struggle just getting out of their home. They're stuck in their home. I had a veteran family that came for the very first time to our Christmas party, and his wife just collapsed and cried and hugged, because she's like, he just does not go out and socialize anymore. And that meant so much to both of them, because he hugged me and cried too. And just, that you saw the healing happen. It just opened up so much. And that's why I do this. That's making those small differences. It doesn't matter if I help just one person, I've helped one person.
Yeah.
But I hope we can help a whole lot more.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So going back to saying that seems so much like Joey, I've got to meet him a handful of times, but he gives off this energy and vibe of that pastoral, inclusion, therapeutic, hey, bud, what's going on? I'm here for you. So he, without knowing that beforehand, that seems like just the role that's meant just for him and including. I can't imagine seeing that process of what you just explained. That just has to be absolutely amazing, because it's like there's probably multiple battles going on. You have the warrior and you have the family and support system who see them struggling and don't know how to help. So that creates another battle between them. So like when you said, when they can get around their people, like who truly understand the same thing, how much that also helps that process. So much of this is just awful and beautiful at the same time.
Right. No, I totally get it. So since 2019, when we got started, it was in March. So we had just kind of dug in and gotten Buddy Check going and Caregivers Tea going, and then 2020 happened. So we're a little behind the 8 ball. We were hoping to have already started doing weekend retreats, but that did kind of set us back a couple of years. So our Florida, they do theirs the first weekend of October every year. We are finally going to start doing ours the first weekend of May every year. So being able to do a fully immersive weekend of tools and therapeutic art and activities, and just having that interaction time. We're going to have just some good fire pit time where you can either talk or just listen to some music. Got Saint coming to play some guitar around the fire pits, and one of our board members is also a very accomplished guitar player, and just having that time to connect with other families. We push the whole family up here in the Midwest. The Florida division has not quite done the children as much. She's hoping to eventually learn from me, because that's kind of mine and Joey's passion, is making sure we're including the kids. Because children, man, they just don't have any support out there. Their peers at school, they're very rarely, especially in our area, they're not going to have nearly as many peers that have parents that have a military career.
Right.
Because we are not surrounded by bases here like the Florida Panhandle is. There's bases everywhere. So those kids don't have as many people to talk to that get them, that may have a parent that has PTS. We are trying to, a lot of the veteran community is trying to switch PTSD to just PTS and drop the disorder part. Just wanted to clarify why I said PTS instead of PTSD. I still slip up because it's been so long. But
would that eventually affect like insurance if they don't call it a disorder? Would they still be able to claim report those things if it's not recognized as a disorder, or just verbally you guys are trying
Just
to take that off of there?
verbally.
Gotcha. PTS.
So,
Okay.
yeah. I don't know all the in and outs of the medical coding. I'm sure
But
it'll
just
probably
verbally to remove that
always
from
do
our
that.
vocabulary.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
we're trying to, just because I guess some veterans have said that just, it puts a bad,
I could
connotation
imagine
on
it makes them feel like they're different, something's wrong with them, and that's maybe why they stay so silent, because,
Right.
if I come out, people are going to see me differently. No one wants to say, "Hey, I have a disorder." So
Right.
that makes total sense. That makes
Yeah.
total sense.
Yeah.
Coming back to the kids, they know something's wrong.
Absolutely.
They are a sponge, and they're smarter than a lot, than we think a lot of times.
Mhm.
And a lot of them don't know how to ask for help. And so, when they see their parents struggle, that has to be very, very hard on them.
And this is after they've had their mom or dad be gone for maybe a long period of time,
Right.
and then have this other hiccup of something is not right when they come back. Maybe something's
Yeah.
off.
So, and it's not just the veteran that has the PTS. There's secondary. There's secondary, and most of the spouses end up with what's called secondary PTSD. I actually have a diagnosis of secondary PTSD.
Can you talk about that a little bit,
Sure.
Keri?
Mhm.
So, when you are fully immersed in a home with a veteran that has PTS, you are walking in and digging in the trenches with them day in, day out, reliving the nightmares with them, belly crawling down the hallway at 2 a.m. because they're looking for Iraqis. Things happen, and their triggers end up becoming your triggers. If I hear a loud noise, I'm now jumping. If somebody walks up to my window unexpectedly, I'm now jumping. So it's very similar. Did I walk through those same traumas? No. I didn't physically see what he saw, but I feel them. And there are a lot of spouses that have what's called secondary PTSD. But what is not getting diagnosed is the children. They also have secondary PTSD. It's the same.
So can you we can't imagine, because unfortunately it's true, but not having a program like these healing tools, the snowball effect of what's happening. These warriors are coming back. These families are being affected, and now they are in their own bubble. And if they have no outlet, if that pressure builds up, what happens? So not only the importance of these programs, but vocalizing why these are so important.
So why this is really, really important. There has been some studies done amongst caregivers of military that had that either have PTS or traumatic brain injuries. And it's scary because everybody knows about the 22 a day with the veterans, which is horrible. That shouldn't be happening anyway. But what people do not know is that in this study, 27% of military caregivers had suicide ideology.
Wow, that's something that you don't hear about that number unless you were looking for it.
Nope.
That is not, the light is not shown on that.
No, not at all.
Wow.
Not at all. And that's only 27% of those that would admit.
That would admit. Yeah, that's a more important part right there. Absolutely, to share. That would vocalize that. I guarantee that number would be so much more.
Yeah.
If they felt the ability to really share.
Yeah.
And what Keri's referring to with the 22 is the 22 a day warriors who commit suicide, correct?
Yes. Yes. So, and then I have heard, children are struggling with that. We have more and more children that have suicide ideology these days anyway.
Yeah.
But add in a parent that may have PTS or a traumatic brain injury, that I don't know what that number is. I haven't been able to find any information on it yet.
And that tells you a lot right there.
Yeah.
Probably wise, because no one's looking in. I don't want to say no one. There are people working hard out there and trying to get it out there, but it's not out there yet.
Right.
And that's because it's not come across anyone. Yeah, we know why, but
Yeah.
that's awful.
You talked a little bit about your retreat, Keri.
Yeah.
And this is something that I'm assuming that any veteran first responder can come attend.
Yes.
And you said it is in May.
Yep.
Where is it going to be located at? And what, maybe talk a little bit about what this costs to put on, and who's invited and that sort of thing.
So the retreat is going to be May 1st through 4th. They'll check in around 3 p.m. on that Thursday, May 1st, and we'll wrap up around 11 o'clock on that Sunday, the 4th, and it's at the historic Santa Claus campground. So right here in Indiana, so nice and close to home. It is a beautiful, beautiful campground. We will have use of kayaks and canoes and archery and just all kinds of amazing things. It is for veterans, first responders, and their families, including the children. So
awesome.
We can take up to 50 participants for our first year with our budget line that our board has set. The budget line is $8,400 to put on this weekend retreat. I know that sounds like a lot, but you're thinking 50 people, and I'm not going to really count in little children as part of that cost, because they're not going to eat that much. But we've got to lodge them, feed them, have activities. All of that costs money. So
yeah, you're absolutely taking care of them for those days.
It will cost them nothing but their gas money to get there. That's it. Once you're on property, we've got you.
Yeah.
Right.
So
that's amazing.
And the best way to register for that, because we think something might be wrong with the Google link that is on our Facebook page on that event, send a message and we will actually email out the registration form so that we are 100% positive we have that. And
and when is that deadline to register, Keri?
So we can take people up to, I'm going to say April 1st.
Okay.
Is probably when we're going to cut that off. We hadn't set a cutoff date, but April 1st sounds like a good time, and I'll just go ahead and put that in my notes too.
Good. I'm glad we were able to set that date for you.
We just set a deadline.
I know that you're definitely a fundraiser too. You do a lot of fundraising, and are you still in need for funds to put on this?
We are definitely looking for sponsors and to help sponsor this event. We are having a Cajun cook-off at the River City Eagles on the 22nd of February.
Okay.
So people could help by cooking whatever Cajun dish they want to and bringing it that day to the River City Eagles to be part of the cook-off. I am looking for a business partner that wants to even just front the money for the prize money for the winners. So that would be a nice, easy way to support that. And then to come and eat. So we have 2 different options for the cook-off. You can either get a stamp and refill your, go back multiple times, or you can get just one bowl and put as many different offerings in there as you want, and then people will get to vote. So bring your quarters, because I'm going to have cups in front of them. You get to throw in a quarter a vote to have people's choice vote by who raised the most money.
Yeah, that sounds great. So everybody that likes Cajun,
yes,
make sure to go to the River City Eagles.
Yeah, it's on Franklin Street.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
You had mentioned something previously when you were talking about when you guys got started and COVID kind of put you guys back a little bit. It was the buddy check-in, which I assume that is, buddies check, hey, how you doing today? Or just being able to pick up that phone call. You said a second thing, a
Yes,
campaign. What
Caregivers
was that?
Tea.
I'm
Caregivers
sorry,
Tea.
Caregivers tea. Okay. What
Yeah,
is Caregivers tea?
so that was just mainly for the family supports. So
Okay.
we would gather, initially what it was we would have tea and some kind of little snacks, and we would do just some little crafty thing or just sit and talk and have tea. And that kind of evolved over time. And now we are looking for a new home for our buddy check, which is now transitioning a little bit to what's going to be called Healing Connection. And instead of buddy check and it just being the veterans, we want to have to where the whole family can gather, and I'll bring board games and we'll play games or cards. And that way more of our veterans come out if the caregivers come out. So if you want to get the veterans out, sometimes you have to bring the caregivers along too. So we were noticing that last year, that if I went with Joey, there'd be a few other caregivers that would show up and we'd just sit at another table while they sat and talked or played cards.
That makes sense. What an evolution. You guys were able to see that, and that makes sense, and implement that change.
Right. And so now, since we're going to do that with Buddy Check and transition that to what's going to be called Healing Connect, then the Caregivers Tea, since we don't really have tea anymore, and we're already changing one name, we're transitioning that to be called Healing Arts. So what that's going to be is everybody included, again, veterans, children, families, and we'll either do a craft or an art thing or a music therapy. So we might have some guys just come and bring guitars. Anybody else that has an instrument that they're trying to learn how to use or knows how to play guitar or ukulele, whatever you have, just come and hang out and just kind of play some music and just kind of chill and be together. Music is so healing. From the age of 14, that was my dream, was I wanted to go and I wanted to be a music therapist and I wanted to work at a VA so I could help heal veterans. That was my dream when I was 14 years old. I knew I wanted to help veterans.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Did you have...
And here you are.
Yeah, and here you are. Where did that come from at 14? Did you have a lot of family in the service? Where did that come from?
Yeah, I have a long line of service members in my family. My dad's retired Air Force. My papa actually served in every single branch of the military at one point in time.
I don't think I've ever heard that from someone before. I don't think I knew you could do that. I don't think I knew you could do that.
I don't know how he did it, but he did. So I always thought that was the coolest thing, that he served in every single branch of the military at one point in time.
Very cool.
And my grandfather was World War II Army. No, World War I Army. Sorry. I never did get to meet him, but and my brother's was Navy.
Looking back now, you had that dream since 14, so very young. Do you feel like you were one of those kids that maybe you were seeing not getting recognized now? Did you feel like you were taking on some of those experiences?
No,
or
it wasn't that. My dad was never deployed to a combat zone or anything. He was gone a lot, and we just kind of came to understand that, sometimes dad would disappear in the middle of the night and he'd be back eventually. Whether it was later that morning or in a couple days or whatever. So it was never anything with any struggles with my own father, because he was just
that was your normal. That was your normal.
Yeah.
And I think it's normal for something that we don't realize, not having military parents or something or when they were in the military, that wouldn't be normal for us, but for military kids, that's normal.
Yeah. So, and he went into the reserves when I was really young. So I had a fairly normal childhood. I
Mhm.
didn't bounce around. And that's why he went into the reserves, because he didn't want to bounce a baby around the United States and all over the world. So
Yeah.
he wanted me to have a normal life. And me and my brother, which he came later, but we had already settled into Lagodi, Indiana, before my brother was born. So, but I always loved going with Dad when he would have to, start getting ready for his PT tests every summer, when he'd have to get ready to go away for that couple weeks for
Mhm.
his training. And just I was Dad's girl, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Keri, what types, like when a veteran might come to you with something that they need,
Mhm.
what types of programs, job opportunities, or volunteer roles, or anything, places that maybe you help connect warriors with first responders, and how do these opportunities restore their sense of purpose?
Sure. I get calls for so many different things. I've had calls of somebody needing housing, and just connecting them with those resources that we have in the community. So that's one thing that we do try to do, is make sure that we are up on what all community resources are out there that we can share with people, because you just don't always know what's out there.
Oh, yeah.
I had a veteran call me Monday when I was on my way up to Indy, struggling with getting to see his counselor that he's had for a while out in the community, and how to navigate that, because sometimes the VA tries to pull people back in that are out seeing a provider in the community because they've gotten people in. So, just how to navigate being able to advocate for himself. So there's that piece of that too, just helping them navigate those waters of advocacy, and who to talk to, and what possibilities are out there for them. Um, some of them just want some help with getting the word out there. Like, we have a veteran that has um, a a music business, a DJ business. So we've tried to help connect him with other organizations that he can go and do his DJ business, and help make sure we are promoting other veteran businesses as well.
Sure. That's important.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So is your Facebook page the best place where people can get a hold of you, get involved, reach out for support?
Yes, so the Facebook page is absolutely the best. And just send a message button on there, and either I or Joey will get back with you, like, as soon as we possibly can. I believe my phone number is even on there, and I take calls. I answer lots of spam calls, because I'm always afraid that, what if it's a veteran family member that needs to get a hold of me? So
Yeah.
I answer it anyway. So um
With you taking on this role and being the president of this chapter, and of course being a wife of a veteran, like you just said, that phone, the thought of, what if this is someone who needs me? How are you finding self-care through all of this? Are you seeing that the program that you are running, even though you are responsible for those things, you are finding those healing tools within it as well?
Absolutely. So I'm actually in my craft room right now. This is
That's pretty crafty. Looks good.
this is my respite for myself. So
Okay.
I love to sit and just create things. Um and I also run a virtual support group with Wounded Warrior Project. So I'm involved with that too.
Oh, nice.
So I'm a peer group leader, volunteer with them. All of my stuff is volunteer, but I really enjoy helping others, but I also know that I have to set my own boundaries, and I
Good.
have to know my
That's
limits.
important.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and that's so important, is setting boundaries, speaking your needs, because too often we get complacent and we just go with the flow. but it's okay to speak your own needs. And that's something not just for a family support member, veterans, speak your needs. It's okay to speak your needs. It's okay to ask for help. That's what people should be doing, is people helping other people.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I know we're wrapping up, but we mentioned this cutie patootie earlier, and I don't want to go on without explaining his role. Mr. Brave.
Yes. Okay.
You thought I was talking about Joey, didn't you?
I was like, what cutie
Her face
patootie?
kind of. She just called Joey cutie patootie. No, I am referring to Brave. Let's talk about Brave.
Okay, Brave is awesome. Brave is my husband's service dog. So we got him when we still lived in Florida. There was an organization called Healing Paws for Warriors, and they got Joey connected with Brave. And let me tell you what, and there's been a little division there. One of the trainers, the main trainer, actually has his own organization now called Positive Love, PAWS, Positive Love. And Steve's awesome. He did most of the training with Brave and Joey. And he also trains the canines for Walton County. I had to stop and think what county that was now. I've been gone so long. So that match of Brave and Joey could not have been better. They have the same personality. They're very laid back. They're very relaxed. And, Brave helps him not just with the post-traumatic stress and not as much with the traumatic brain injury, but if he falls, Brave helps me get Joey back up now. So it's not just all physically on me. So that really helps a lot, that I have a partner to help me get Joey up off the ground if he has, because he was hit with an IED in Iraq. So his left leg just sometimes goes out and he's down. So that really helps with Brave helping me get him up off the ground. So, but Brave's awesome. He is a lab bloodhound mix, and he's gorgeous.
Oh, I did not know about the bloodhound mix part.
Yep,
I see the lab.
longer nose and the longer ears is the bloodhound part.
I just see a good, handsome boy when I see him. He is a good
boy.
He is such a good boy. How I just love that connection relationship, service animals for warriors who are needing that, because the science behind it, the benefits of it are so amazing. Without speaking for Joey, how have you, from an outside look, noticed that relationship between him and his service dog has helped him and you? The physical part you said for you, but how has that changed Joey, you think?
So before we had Brave, the only time we could go to the store was around 2 or 3 in the morning. He wouldn't go anywhere any other time. That was it. Wow. Because that's when the fewest people would be at the store. So we had no choice but to only go to Walmart, because it was the only place that was open at that time of night. And, I was still at that time working a full-time job. So I'm getting up, going to the store with him, because he still needs somebody there, even though it's at 2 or 3 in the morning. And then going to work and working a full day with my students. And so Brave now allows us to go to the store any time of day.
And the Legion. I've seen Joey and Brave at the Legion, where that's sometimes a small space with a lot of people. So you just saying that, like, in my mind, I was like, not knowing them that well, I've seen them in a totally opposite environment. That is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So that would have never happened before Brave.
Oh, wow.
Would have never happened. Joey would not have been able to walk into that small of a space with that many people. Now, granted, he still likes to get in his little corner where he can see who's in front of him. That's a normal thing.
Yeah.
Whether you have a dog or not. And actually, it's probably safer for Brave. He gets stepped on less. You
Poor little
know,
boy, he does. Yeah.
he blends in. He's a black dog. You don't see him, especially if it's dark. So,
Right.
but yeah, Brave has changed his life. So I actually I haven't published it yet, but I've written a children's book called Brave New World, and it's about Brave becoming a
Oh,
service dog.
oh
Uh,
my goodness! Please, anyway, we don't get that published. I want
I
that book
know
out in the world.
I need to do that. It's
Yes.
but I wanted to write a children's book so kids would understand what a service dog is.
Yes.
Just I've read it to many scout troops because we always take Brave and we speak to a lot of scout troops or school groups, and we talk about service dogs and what the difference is between a service dog and an emotional support animal, because
Yeah.
a lot of people don't understand that.
And and I notice so much more now. Those are becoming the same terminology, and they very, very, very much are not. They are two very, very different things.
Yes, they are. And a lot of places still don't know all the rules. We didn't know when we first got Brave and we were moving up here. We had stopped at a hotel in Decatur, Alabama. They would not allow us to stay because of Brave. And we're like, but he's a service dog. He's allowed to be here. But we just let it go. We didn't know at the time. What we should have done was call the police, and the police would have informed them of the law. So if anybody does run into that problem that has a service dog and you get denied access to a place, just call the police. They will inform them of the law and what that is. That's the guideline we were given from the organization we got Brave from.
Do you find that you have trouble with that now? Because I feel like that's more well known, although you have the mixture, people have a mixture of the two, but I feel like that it's more well known. I just wonder if it's still happening.
It is more well known. We had an issue just once that a restaurant did not want to allow us in. And when they finally did, they put us in the very back corner, segregated away from everybody. And that was disappointing. But it's
for someone who doesn't want to feel like they have a disorder and they're different.
Right.
I'd read some documentaries just about so many soldiers, warriors don't go that path because it is hey, I need this dog. There's something wrong with me. And the fear of probably being treated that way.
Yes. And
is absolutely awful.
It's rough. So, and people have said the craziest things. Oh, well, I ought to get me a vest for my dog so I can bring my dog to Walmart too.
Yes,
and we're like,
that is what I hear so often. I want my dog to come with me. Oh, the way to get around that is just put a vest on him, and my heart cringes when I hear that.
Yeah,
these are tools. They are working. These animals.
Yes, which is so crazy. We've been in Walmart, and Joey and Brave were ahead of me, and there was a lady that went and petted Brave while Joey's back was turned, and I just gave her the mama bear look, and she was like, shh. I'm like, you saw the sign. It says do not pet. You shouldn't go up to any dog and just pet a dog.
Exactly.
Why would you do that to a service dog?
Yeah.
Just because you think they might be better behaved and they won't bite you? I mean, I don't know.
Or sadly, yeah, that sign doesn't mean anything to anyone anymore because that knowledge is not out there of understanding what the role of that animal is. Because again, so many people just throw it on there and they're like, oh yeah, it's fine, it's great, go at it. And like you said, you shouldn't do that to any dog.
No.
Wearing a vest or not, any dog, you shouldn't do that.
And please try not to give service dog treats somewhere. It does create some problem. It's really, Joey's got such a big heart that sometimes he will say no. But, if they keep begging, oh, but please let me give him. And then Brave might tend to expect that at other places.
Yeah.
And that means he's distracted thinking about, ooh, I'm going to get a treat, instead of doing his job.
Yeah. Well, it's like a kid, they're trained, but they're a dog too.
Yes.
Like they can make mistakes, and they want that treat. Just, you dangle a carrot, they're going to want it.
Absolutely. We had a lady, not at it was not in this town, but we were at a Dairy Queen, and she just came up and brought a pup cup to Brave. Look, I got you a pup cup. We don't feed Brave in restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a problem, though.
Oh,
I mean, you're going to dangle ice cream in front of a dog. Of course, he's going to want that.
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. Well, after you just told that story about that restaurant being hesitant, it's like, you guys are working to not create those habits and behaviors. And it's sad. People don't know. They see a dog, but the education is so important. So important.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
my
we've talked to, anybody that asks for us to come and talk about dogs. We're about service dogs. We're more than willing to do that.
Yeah.
Just to help educate our community.
Absolutely. So to kind of, again, I know we've been trying to wrap up, but to put a bow on it, for warriors who may be hesitant to seek help or struggling, obviously just saying, just go, you'll feel better, not the right thing to say. What message would you share with them?
You are not alone.
Mm.
That one phrase really says it all. Mm-hmm. You are not alone. You are not different. You are not broken.
Yeah.
You are accepted. And just let us help if we can.
That's
at least
so
get
powerful.
you some resources.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You are not alone.
Yeah. Keri, Brave's amazing, Joey's amazing, and you are a true gift to these warriors and first responders. And there needs to be more people like you that are willing to step up and take care of these people that take care of us. And I'm honored that you are on our podcast today. We really appreciate you.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you. We will be sharing out all of these resources, and then I know we will be both aware of how we can help spread that education of what you've shared with us today. So thank you so much, everyone, for listening today. Be sure to follow us and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Stay connected with us on social media, and we want to hear from you. Please let us know what you've learned from today, what further questions you have, how we can get you connected, or resources, or to share your story. Use the hashtag #KickItUpANotchPodcast. And until next time, let's all keep working together so we can kick it up a notch in everything we do. Thanks so much, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to Kick It Up a Notch. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your friends. Until next time, keep reaching higher and kicking it up a notch.